Hello, welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Chat About It with me, Rachel, aka the Queen of the Woke. Now, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please, because I'm trying to get to 400 subscribers. And if you could help me out, that'd be so great. Thank you very much. This video wasn't necessarily intended, and then I decided to intend it because apparently I have a white crusade, so I need to continue with that. But this one I thought was very interesting. So it was Libs of TikTok put out this tweet on the 29th of February. No whites allowed at this theatre on certain days to protect black people from the white gaze. How is this legal? Now, of course, what Libs of TikTok are actually talking about is a play called Slave Play by Kit Harington. And it says in the picture here, West End play tells white theatregoers they aren't welcome as it hosts an all-black audience night at Kit Harington production to protect ticket holders from the white gaze. They have a picture of Slave Play and Kit Harington. And of course, then I retweeted this particular tweet from Libs of TikTok. And I said, with a typo, and I spelled while instead of white, what a better time to teach white people that segregation is okay. What the flip? This would be discrimination if this was aimed at anyone else. How are the SOLT allowing this? And the SOLT are the Society of London Theatre, and they govern everything to do with theatre, and they work in relation with Equity and Spotlight TV and all of those people involved, and they make theatre more accessible and a better place for everyone. And then I went and found some articles on it, and this says New West End play allocates 2 nights for black audiences to watch free from the white gaze. Like, how racist does that sound? And yes, you can be racist towards white people. A new West End play is allocated 2 nights exclusively for black identifying theatregoers to enjoy the performance free from the white gaze. Imagine a white person turning up on these specific dates that they have allocated for this particular play and say, I identify as a black person, I can come in. Imagine that. Slave Play, written by the American playwright Jeremy O. Harris, will run at the Noel Cowell Theatre in London from 29th of June to 21st of September and will star Kit Harington, best known for his role as Jon Snow in the HBO series Game of Thrones. Now, 2 nights have been allocated to an all-black identifying audience. Blackout tickets. How racist does that sound? Blackout. Tickets for performances on 17th of July and 17th of September will only be sold to people who identify as black. Is that even the thing? Is transracial a thing? I believe transracial is a thing. Okay. So like I said, you can just come up and say, I identify as black. Wow. Anyway. That's ridiculous. Playwright Harris told BBC Sounds he was excited by the prospect, stating it is necessity to radically invite them in with initiatives that say you're invited, specifically you. In 2019, Harris came up with the idea of Blackout Nights for his polarizing 3-act epic Slave Play, a show about race, sex, and power dynamics in interracial relationships. Now, a website for the initiative describes the idea as the purposeful creation of an environment in which an all-black identifying audience can experience and discuss an event in performing arts, film, athletic, and cultural spaces free from the white gaze. The thing is, theatre should be accessible to everyone, and no one should be segregated for the purpose of going to the theatre. Theatre should automatically promote everything that has said in that very statement just there, without the fear of segregation and racism and everything like that. You know, theatre is escapism, theatre is art, theatre is joy, and that's what it should be for an audience goer. But I just find it bizarre that this should even be considered. Wow, this is incredibly glitchy. Over the last few years, sorry, glitchy as in, like, if you're listening on the podcast, glitchy because the screen is jumping all over the page. Over the last few years, a number of playwrights and directors in the US and the UK have created private and safe spaces for black theatre goers to experience productions that explore complex, nuanced race-related issues. I felt that with a Black play like Tambo and Bones, which unpicks the complexity of Black performance in relation to the white gaze, it was imperative that we created such a space. Slave play will co-star Heartstoppers and then just talks on about the actual play itself. Now, of course, this wasn't met with good graces. People didn't see very much about it. And there was a statement that was released in response to the blackout nights. And it says, as the producers of Slave Play in the West End, our intent is to celebrate the play with the widest possible audience, whilst segregating other people. We want to increase accessibility to theatre for everyone. The Broadway production conceived of Blackout Nights, and we carefully are considering how to incorporate this endeavour as part of 2 performances in our 13-week run. We will release further details soon. To be absolutely clear, no one will be prevented or precluded from attending any performance of Slave Play. But the thing is, you said that you have blackout nights. So what are the people actually going to immediately think? Well, those are 2 nights where it's only Black people who are allowed to attend. No other race, no people from any other race are allowed to attend. It don't matter about white, whatever. That's essentially what it said. But then the fact that you have to release the statement to make it clear. Well, I don't know. I mean, but it's gotten the attention of Rishi Sunak, our Prime Minister. And he has condemned London's theatre for hosting blackout nights. Now, Downing Street have condemned the London's theatre decision to stage 2 performances of a play about slavery for all Black identifying audiences. Rishi Sunak's official spokesperson said it was concerning that the Noel Coward Theatre in the West End plans to hold what it dubs blackout performances during a 2-month run of Slave Play, a Broadway production about race and sexuality. The idea is not new and has taken place in the UK before, with theatres in London holding such performances for Daddy by Jeremy O. Harris, who also wrote Slave Play, and Tambo and Bones by the US playwright Dave Harris. Asked about the Noel Coward's theatre plans, a spokesperson said, the Prime Minister is a big supporter of the arts, and he believes that the arts should be inclusive and open to everyone, particularly where those arts venues are in receipt of public funding. Obviously, these reports are concerning and further information is being sought, but clearly restricting audiences on the basis of race would be wrong and divisive. Asked if this was a threat to strip public funding from theatres which stage blackout performances, the spokesperson said it is a statement of principle that clearly the arts should be inclusive, and I think that particular taxpayers would particularly expect that to be the case when public funding is involved. Now, obviously, I would expect that. In actual fact, maybe this is just me being clouded and disconnected from theatre in recent years, but I wasn't aware of any public in the West End, and I wasn't aware of any public blackout performances at public theatres. I wasn't aware of that. Now, it may have happened in private performances, but I wasn't aware about public. If it's private funding, if it's private theatre, then that's a different case. But if it's public, then it should be publicly accessible to everyone. We go above and beyond to make it accessible for disabled people, people who are deaf, people who are blind. We do all of this. We try to do this. We do relaxed performances to make it accessible for people who have sensory and auditory issues. Theatres in recent years have gone above and beyond. So it should really, theoretically, remain that so. Now, people will say, now I guess you could say that that having it so that it's only black people who or feel threatened by other people from other races to go, that is in a way making it accessible for them. But then, how would taxpayers feel? You would have to question it. How would taxpayers feel about public funding, public taxpayer money going towards this public theatre event where you have only only black audiences in a public space. It is segregation at the end of the day, and segregation is not good. It's not good. It is segregation. Anyway, to continue, you may think that I'm being racist. That's up to you. I just see it for what it is. So I went onto their website and I had a look. Now here we have. I couldn't find anything that says anything about these blackout performances as they're dubbing them. But here on the 17th of July, we have a theatre performance at 14:30. It was 2:30, and then we go to the 17th of September, and there's nothing here, and there's nothing on the 5th of September either. So maybe they're still considering it. But after the government released the statement, it would now appear that slave play blackout shows producers are carefully considering black-owned events after Downing Street criticism. Slave play, and it talks about who wrote it, but the producers of a West End show are carefully considering plans to hold evenings aimed at black-only audiences following criticism from Downing Street. Slave Play, which features Game of Thrones star Kit Harington among the cast, will run from 29th of June to 21st of September at the Norcal Theatre. It is set to include 2 performances aimed at an all-black identifying audience that is free from the white gaze. Similar blackout nights were held during the show's run on Broadway in New York in 2019, with organizers describing them as private invitation-only events. So maybe that's how it's working, but it's still publicly funded. So should it be private? I don't know. That's a question, I guess, that the Society of London Theatre should really be answering. The West End move was announced earlier this week, with blackout events confirmed to take place on 17th of July and 17th of September. But when asked about the plans on Thursday, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's official spokesperson said restricting audiences on the basis of race would be wrong and divisive. However, organisers said they would not prevent or preclude anyone from attending, and said nobody has been turned away in the past. They told Sky News in a statement, as the producers of Slave Play in the West End, our intent is to celebrate the play with the widest possible audience. I've read this statement already. But we want to increase accessibility to theatre for everyone. The Broadway production conceived of blackout nights, and we are considering how to incorporate this endeavour as part of the as part of 2 performances in our 13-week run. We will release further details soon. To be absolutely clear, no one will be prevented. Okay, so I think this is just pretty much what I read earlier. Let's just double check. Okay, this was a cold read. So it says the blackout dates were available to buy for the matinee on 17th of July, but not an evening performance. And no ticketed shows appeared to be scheduled for 17th of September. The no color bar. So what's this? After being accused by some social media users of being racist against white people, Emily in Paris star Harris wrote on X, "I don't have to imagine that the roles were reversed in my grandparents' lifetime and worse." But you're not your grandparents, are you? I'm not even saying blacks only. I'm saying I'm inviting black people first. They can bring their white friends or lovers if they want. There's no color bar, but one existed in the UK recently. Receipts? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. No. Are you saying that in these black only performances, it was literally just black people only? Are you saying that there's only ever been performances of audience members being white people only? Yeah, I can see why people have a huge issue with this thing being called blackout. And when you are in a public space, I actually think that the spokesperson for Rishi Sunak is correct. Theatre should be accessible for everyone. So therefore, there should be shouldn't really be anything called a blackout, in my opinion. Well, anyway, my white crusade, as someone dubbed it here on the channel, is obviously in full swing. But I just thought that it was wrong. I'd not ever heard of this before. I just thought that it was wrong. And it shouldn't be going ahead. But that's just my opinion. And call it my right crusade, call it racist, call it whatever you like. What do you think about these blackout performances? Do you think this is something that should be a thing? I personally don't, because it's publicly funded and theatre should be accessible for all. If it's private theatre, then you can do whatever you like. If it's private funding, you can do whatever you like. I just think that dubbing it blackout, it doesn't sound right in any way, shape, or form. But that's just my opinion. You might have a different one. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel, chat about it, don't shout about it, and I'll chat to you very soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.